So first, thanks a lot for all your good wishes and your well-being wishes. I am feeling much, much, much better. I even went through one of these winter viruses that had me cough, and now I can stand it. And I am wishing you a very happy new year, full of sparkling little stitches and lots of projects that you will enjoy. So hello everyone. Welcome or welcome back to my very small place on the internet where I talk about my knitting life, my knitting adventures. My name is Isabelle. I am in France in Normandy, and today it's going to be a regular episode about what I have been working on in the past 2 weeks. And in particular, I'm going to just talk about my Christmas cast on and my New Year's cast on. I'm not going to talk about the other projects because I also want to be talking about all the yarny presents I had during this period by my kids, my brother and sister-in-law, and by myself. So if that is of any interest to you, please stay tuned. And first, as everybody does, what am I wearing? I am wearing my Cozy X that I knit. I just had a look and I forgot that I knit in February 2023. Cozy X is by Intomstein, and I knit it with this mohair that I got in the Pyrenees, maybe the year before or even the year before that one. I have the same mohair in blue and I want to make another similar raglan sweater. I love the fit of raglan sweaters. This one is also perfectly fitting the shoulder shape, the particular shoulder shape, because we are not straight like this. And I made it a little boxy at the time and I was a little sad it was too big. But now, after a year without exercising and after I could start again exercising, so I still haven't done anything. And the end of the year season has been with us, and I went to see people and my kids came home, so we had a lot of nice meals. Anyway, this very boxy sweater is very welcome right now. And I'm wearing it with a caul that I made with leftovers from 2 boxes, mystery boxes by Trellis. The main one being the one I think she had during Christmas. It was a Christmas box. So the pattern of the hat was by Meret Besberger. And so it was a skein of merino superwash, I think, and a skein of mohair, a variegated mohair. And the pattern included the hat and the mittens. And there was some leftovers, and I did not want to have the leftovers like that. So I used the same pattern, and I started with what I had left of the green one. And I used the rest of the pink peony shawl, I think that's what the name was, that I had made the year before. It was a birthday present box from her. And this one was from one of my Stephen West shawls. And I knit the caul in December 2021. So I think I had the yarn from that year in 2021 for the Christmas mystery box, and the summer before for her birthday present or something like that. So anyway, this caul is very warm. I may have to take it out because I'm already feeling quite warm, and the weather is extremely strange right now. We went 2 days ago from minus below freezing temperatures, icy rains and stuff like that, to about 10 more degrees in Celsius the next day. And now we are back into a storm with heavy winds, heavy rain, and we may have snow at the end of the week. So we are not out of the winter weather, even if in Normandy it's much milder than what some of you are experiencing. But this coal is extremely, extremely soft and extremely warm because with the mohair it traps a lot of air, and I'm starting to feel a bit warm, so I may have to take it out at some point. Okay, Christmas cast on and New Year's cast on. So first, Christmas cast on. I've had that pattern in my want to make 2024, in my want to make 2023 list. And yes, I did wait for a long time before all of the planets aligned, and I finally decided I was going to cast it on. I casted it on with yarn from Lensoule Pommier. This is their, they say 4-ply, I'm not sure. Maybe it's Aran weight. It's 125 meter per 100 grams. And you need that usually with needles 6 to 7 millimeters. So this is their natural dark yarn, and they are not making that yarn any longer. So the name of the colorway is Chocolate. And these were the last balls I could get by chance when I went to visit them. And the chocolate they are not making any longer because they don't have enough darker sheep to be using exclusively the darker sheep fleece to make the balls. So now they are using the darker fleeces with the lighter ones to make their light beigey gray colorway, and the taupe one that they also make. I'm not sure if it's a higher percentage of dark and clear or if it's dyed. I'm not sure. I can recall. I will maybe write down here, but I don't remember what she said. But anyway, she has stopped making the chocolate colorway, and Aran weight, or that type of bigger yarn, is not of my favorite. I much prefer sport weight yarn. I think it's my sweet spot. It's a bit bigger to me, and I was thinking, what am I going to be doing with that and everything. And I saw her a couple months later, and she said, I knew I was going to see you, and I brought you a couple more balls. So that I think I originally had 4, and in the end I had 7. So with 7 balls, I can make a sweater, or at least I hope I can make a sweater. I hoped I could make a sweater. And it immediately clicked that I was going to make Alary by Paula Pereira. I've had that pattern in my library, as I said, in my want to make, not in my library. I did not buy it before I was ready to cast on. And I was drooling over that pattern for a very, very long time, since it came out. And so I finally bought it maybe the day I cast it on, so it was on Christmas Day, or maybe the day before, so that I'm sure I was having it and I could highlight and prepare and stuff like that. Anyway, I cast this on Christmas morning, and Christmas was at my home with my children, so it was a bit mixed match. So I had the 3 of them on Christmas Day, and on Christmas Eve, Paulin arrived as our little Santa Claus by the train at 9 o'clock at night because he had to work previously. So anyway, so we had a later dinner for Christmas Eve, and we waited the next day to exchange our presents, that my eldest son could come during. Did we have lunch together? I think he came for lunch. Anyway, I had time to cast on that morning, and I may place pictures and talk about it as I'm going, because Theo, my second son, left the next morning on the Thursday. So on the Friday, I left to go see my mother, and Paulin left to go see his friends, both in the Normandy area and in Rennes, in Brittany. So nobody was home at the time. And when I was with my mother, I stayed longer than I had anticipated, and I had a lot of time to be knitting. So you can be surprised that I have been knitting so much, but for 3 full days, the only thing I had to do, besides basic house things and talk with my mother, which I can do when I am knitting, was knitting. So she doesn't work any longer. She doesn't want to go out. So I took her for lunch, but other than that, that's all we did. So I cast it on Christmas Day. When I left to see her, I think I had not finished the yoke, but I was almost finished with the yoke. So I finished the yoke at her house. I did knit most of the body because I'm doing some kind of yarn management. You see, I think I will win that battle because I still have only one sleeve to do, and I need less than a ball. This is what is left over from one ball for the other sleeve. So I have enough to make the sleeves, the second sleeve, sorry. And I did go down to the body when I was sure I was able to make long sleeves and go down to the length I wanted for the sleeve. What I have to say, and I had overlooked the pattern description before I bought it, but it comes with a short-sleeved version that is on the pictures and medium-sized sleeve somewhere, like a bracelet length sleeve and a full-length sleeve. Anyway, I did my own thing because with the yarn, with the stitch count on the sleeves, I was anticipating it was going to be a little tight for me for the yoke I had chosen, because of course I'm not far off gauge, but I'm off gauge, so I'm kind of making my own stuff. And one thing, so I've been trying it on and everything. So one thing that they did not say, and at first I was thinking maybe I will do it, is go down a little size for the stockinette part regarding the cable part. I did not do it because they do not recommend it, and you see, I think my sleeve is a little big compared to what the width of the yoke is going to be. So what I'm going to be doing is, I've been trying to do that. I haven't blocked it yet, but stretch it out. You see, there is a lot of room to be stretched. So to stretch it out, stretch the yoke out to come, even with the sleeve width and with the body width. And not pin down the body or the sleeves, or let they do what they want. And I think it's going to be working. I love these cables. These cables were really fun. I did not use a cable needle. I just went with, this yarn is very sticky, so you can drop the stitches, and it's only two stitch cables, so it's not difficult, and it's really, really easy. And I really enjoyed knitting that yoke. I think I started with a third size at the top. Yes, I started with a third size at the top, and I kind of went in the middle of the third and the fourth size for the sleeves and the body, because my gauge was a little bigger, my stitches were a little bigger, and I was thinking the third size is going to be oversized enough for me. And at some point I thought, the sleeves are going to be too tight. So I added I kept a bit more stitches for the sleeves, and I added more stitches under the armhole, and I'm landing, I think, in the middle between the third and the fourth side. Anyway, this is a perfect sweater. I've been waiting for it for such a long time. So you have short rows in the back, And I did the Japanese short rows that are completely invisible to me. What you see are the increases. You can't see the short rows where the short rows are in the back. And there are optional short rows at the bottom of the sweater, which I did too. And I used the short row recipe for the bigger size because I was thinking that the part with the short rows in the back was going to be too narrow. And even if the pattern was that way, even with the correct yarn and the correct gauge and everything, I was thinking this short row area is too narrow. So I think I even went further out of the middle of the back for the short rows in the bottom, at the bottom of the sweater. So the back is a little lower. I'm not sure you can see it very well. Well, maybe you can see it, but it's not obvious right now, but it is obvious when I'm wearing it. I love it. It's gonna be very warm. I love the feeling of this yarn. I love the way I did knit with it. I knit with 6mm needles, which are big needles. I made the color with 5mm needles, and I think I used the same 5mm needles for the bottom, the rib on the sleeves and on the bottom of the sweater. And also, of course, I did not respect the decreased rhythm on the sleeves because I did not have the same amount of stitches. So I just did my own thing, and I had to decrease a bit more at the tip of the sleeve before the ribs, and I did just bound out in pattern. But I think I like the way it looks that way. I like the color. The yarn is very. I'm not going to be saying enough of what I think of this yarn, and I'm a bit sorry they are not making that colorway any longer. But I do understand they don't have enough dark sheep to make dark colored yarn, because she said she had to save most of her production for 2 years just to make the darker colorway. So she says it's not practical, and if people are really craving for the colorway, are really asking for it, she will maybe continue to do it or do it over again. But for now, she's not. And I think I had the last 7 balls of her production. So one more sleeve to go, and this one will be done. I did finish the sleeve before I went to see my brother and sister-in-law after I was at my mother's. And I had almost finished also the bottom of the sweater, but I was seeing how far I had to go for the sleeve to be full length, and if I could have the sweater the length I wanted it. So I could do all of that. But now that I know what the second sleeve is going to be, there is a bit less of interest to me. Anyway, I need to go back to that, and I need to make that second sleeve. Maybe in a week it should be. In a week it should be finished. It should be finished in a week. And this has been a 2 years project for me, even though I did not have the yarn, I had not casted the sweater on. But you see, many of you have said that some of the things I'm doing for my yarn no-buy year or my no-buy year, which is not a strict no-buy. Of course, I do buy things, otherwise I would, at some point relapse for a big expense if I was too strict on myself. But anyway, the way I do, I make lists of patterns I want to buy, and I don't buy them. And sometimes when I revisit these lists, I just think, why did I put that pattern here? I don't recall why I saved it here, because I'm not interested in the pattern any longer. And I just take it out and it goes back into my library or in my favorites on Ravelry, but at the bottom of my favorite list. And you see, Alary, I placed it in the want to make list 1 year. I kept it for the whole year. I think the pattern went out during the summertime. But anyway, I kept it that whole year. I moved it over for the whole next year, and I just bought it. So I think it's a very practical way for me not to forget about patterns, because there is always the new and the new and the new and the new, and not to forget about them, to still have them under my radar, keep the ones I really want to make, and enjoy the projects I'm making with them. Okay, next, my New Year's cast on. I had said, I was at my sister and brother-in-law's. I had said to them, on New Year's morning, I need to cast on for two reasons. Because I wanted to cast on a project for New Year's. I think it's something I had never done before. I've done it for a couple years already now, but I think it came from what your knitting community does: a birthday cast on, a Christmas cast on, a New Year's cast on. And I had said, okay, to my my brother and sister-in-law, I want to take 15 minutes to cast on this project on New Year's morning. And one of my knitting groups in the area, it's another one, it's not the one I'm seeing on the Sunday afternoons. There is another one lady I met there, and another group that is less formal. They have an Instagram group where they talk, and from time to time they go and eat together one night. They invited me just before Christmas, so I met the whole group, and they are really, really nice. And they had decided on a special cast on for New Year's all together before I arrived in the group, and it was for socks, because some of them had never made socks and everything. And fortunately, the two projects meet together, because I had decided my New Year's cast on was going to be a pair of socks. And thanks to you, once again, when I asked, I'm going to be attaching and linking my no-buy video I just talked about before, and the video where I talked about which projects I'm going to be casting on, because I was not sure. I knew about Alary, but I was not sure about the sock. And by a landslide, Bear Mountain by Megan Nodecker won, with the blue yarn by La Bien-Aimée. So this is the Merino Super Sock by La Bien-Aimée, and these colorways are one of a kind. There were maybe a couple balls of this colorway, but once they're gone, they're gone. So I'm not sure how it translates on camera, but you see it's more blue than green, but there is a little bit of green in it. It's a tonal blue. There are clear parts in the yarn. There are darker parts. And as I had been concentrating on Alary, I can't do everything. I just casted on Bear Mountains, that one, and I think I made all of this after I came back home. I think I made that yesterday. We are on a Monday. I made that, and I'm filming at night. I have to change my filming schedule because my teaching schedule has changed. So anyway, so I made that yesterday, I think. I'm using the little row counter by Perlinotte. I will link her down below too. And the Bear Mountain cable, it's not really okay. You have cables and you have wrapped stitches. You know, I love wrapped stitches, and because I used one on my own little scarf, my own little free pattern that I made. And so it's cables and wrap stitches, and you do work only 2 rows out of 6, and only in the front of the sock. So I think it's really bearable. I love this little detail. I love this little cable. I'm not sure how to make it right. I love these little cables. And as I did not know if I would have freed my needles, that I am knitting the green and pink striped socks with I decided. So some of you had said you had a rough year, you deserve to treat yourself and everything. When I had said I'm not sure my Nobel year is successful, but I'm not sure I want something or not, and so anyway, I wasn't sure I would free my needles for this sock, and of course I haven't freed them, and I have only one set, and I bought a set of cubic needles. And I bought them from a store in Germany. I could not find any in France. Anyway, with Google Translate, I could manage to place the order. And so these are 2 mm needles. So that's a first for me. The cubic needles and 2 mm, because the other socks I've always been using 2.25 mm, and Bear Mountain calls for 2 mm needle, 2 mm needle. So I'll see how it goes. I'll see. So I placed, stitch markers just to be safe on either side of each motif. And the number of stitches that you have in the front is not the same as the number of stitches that you have in the back, at least for the motif, but because of course it's going to be distributing evenly on the foot once it's finished. And the recipe, the pattern is made with magic loop or flexi flips, I'm not sure I recall. But anyway, I also have a marker here, the yellow one, excuse me, so that's the beginning of row. The yellow one here is the marker where I should be having, the front and the back needle so that I know where I am. Anyway, I like very much these socks. What I have to say, the Merino Super Sock is very slippery. So when I'm doing left-leaning cables, it's a little bit more tricky, and I had to retrieve a couple stitches here and there. That's okay. And also it's a bit splitty, and these needles are quite pointy, so I have to be careful with that. Other than that, it's okay, and I want to just like them, so I will like them. And I love the color. The color is just perfect. And when I was in Paris, when I bought this yarn, I'm not sure I said that already. I went during the morning to order a pair of boots that I have been wanting for so many years. And these are also dark blue. So I think the socks are gonna be matching my boots very well if I can make them long enough so that they go higher than the boots. Just perfect. So a very pleasant project, because for once it's my New Year's cast on, is with the yarn that I bought when I was in Paris, and full of nice memories and everything. Okay, next, Christmas presents. Everyone was I could not make all of the water bottles that I wanted to make. I was missing 2, so one for myself, I can make anytime, and one for my brother and sister-in-law. I just did not talk about it, and I will make one for them at a later time. The water bottles were extremely successful with the girlfriends from my sons, and my youngest son even took a water bottle for him and one for his girlfriend. So my mother did not have one, so I'll make one for her at a later time too. Anyway, they were very successful, and I was a bit afraid they would not like that. Even my son from Toulouse is not a cold area, but he said, I have been wanting to buy one for a long time, so thank you. Anyway, and my eldest son said, his girlfriend always have, this time of month, she has belly cramps, and she use anything warm to put on her belly, so that's perfect. They were very, very happy. Anyway, for myself, I have a list that I had shared with them. Of course, Paulin bought me some music, but my oldest son and my middle son decided to go down the yarny things I had in mind for them, as ideas. If they did not want to do that, they could buy anything or get anything or make anything they would like. But anyway, so the first item, they arranged themselves together so that, it worked. The first item was some Dererum Natura Gilliatt yarn. Because you may recall, when I saw the Len magazine publishing 2023, I just immediately fell in love with Dazzler. Dazzler is by Lisa Lewis. And Dazzler is this all-over colorwork sweater that is to everyone I've showed the pictures or the book, everyone says it's just a stunning sweater. Stunning, stunning, stunning. So I will have to swatch and make a bit of calculations because Gilliatt is not the perfect match for the yarn, but I can arrange that. And since 2021, so that's been for 3 years, I had a sweater quantity of Gilliatt in Boulot. Boulot is this off-white, but on the gray side, on the cold side. And it has some gray little, not speckles, but little spots, gray little spots. And it's more on the cooler side. And over the years, I had reassigned in my head this yarn to different sweaters anyway. So I won't be able to make any of the sweaters. The last one I don't recall the name. It was a cardigan that I wanted to make with it. But anyway, we'll see. But I'm going to use Boulot to make the clear part on the Dazzler. And I have always been wanting to have Gilliatt in Tempête to make a sweater at some point. So there was no reason for me to buy Gilliatt in Tempête. Tempête is this very dark blue, almost black. With the light you see it's blue, but when you see it in the sunlight it looks blue, but if there is not much light it looks almost black. I think this will make a very nice Dazzler. So Samuel, my eldest son, bought five balls. I think I thought it was enough, and of Tempête to make the darker part of Dazzler, and I already had the Boulot in my stash. So when Alary is finished, I will cast on Dazzler. So that's going to be not quite aligned with my new guideline for 2025 for my yarn by year, but at least this is a 3 or 4 years old stashed yarn, so part of it will be good. I'll be good. So that was my first present. I would check how many balls I have. I do not recall. Yeah, he bought me 5 skeins, but I calculated, I think it's enough, and I have 10 skeins, if I recall correctly, of the Boulot. Anyway, the second present, or the second suggestion I had on my list was a book, and a book that one of you, we had talked together about that book. You had got that book for yourself? I'm not sure I recall for which reason. I'm not sure I recall. Anyway, you already had offered me the first Back to Twist by Marianne Isayer. I had seen, but from far away, that there was a second book. And the second book was very similar to the first one, so I did not get it, and I did not even saw there was a third book, and there is a third book. So it's Tokyo Life, Tokyo First. Because Marianne Isayer, I read that part in the book, she has lived in Japan. And the patterns in there are so different from what they are in the two other books, quite colorful, very different. And there are many, many of them that I want to be making. The first one, the first that I like the best is Muscle. And I'm trying to find, I will most probably place a picture on the screen. Muscle, because I have already seen a sweater that is constructed that way, but with more circus colors. And I did not like the circus colors, but I could not envision other colors for that type of sweater. And this is just what I needed. So there is a bit more than what the one I had seen already. And I think I'm going to make that one. I have to see if I have yarn in my stash or not. But anyway, this is the one that really, really caught my eye when I watched, when I kind of browsed through the pattern list for the book. This one I'm not sure. Keep it simple. I think this one is also going to be quite funny. I did not read through the whole thing, but I'm sure there is a bit of intarsia there to make the vertical stripes. I haven't read the pattern, but this kind of very minimalist pattern, this one is woodcut. And she also talks about her inspiration for the motif, for the colorways, for the way she placed the motifs. And thing is, a lot of them are dropped shoulders. So I'm thinking of it as I see this one, but a lot of them are dropped shoulders. I don't like dropped shoulders that much. So I may have to arrange a bit. But anime, this one also is very simple, very nice, and unique. What I think these patterns are in this book is they are extremely unique. You don't find any of them anywhere else, and these will be full of inspiration for very unique patterns, very unique colorways, much more colorful than what she usually does. And it's a very, very, very beautiful book. We bought it, we arranged from Biche in France. So it was easier for me rather than, shipping from abroad. But anyway, if you are in France or anywhere else, I'm sure you can get it. And in France, Biche has the book and ships within a day. So that was a very pleasant surprise because, of course, for Tempête, I had to guide my son to buy the yarn, and in the end, I did just order the yarn myself, and we arranged after that. But for the book, my second son just did all of that by himself, and I was very surprised, and it was a very, very, very pleasant surprise. So thanks a lot to you who pointed that book at me and before my eyes, and because I immediately fell in love with everything that was in there. Anyway, the last thing I want to be talking about is the present I got for myself. My mother gave me some money, and I was thinking, what am I doing? Do I buy yarn? Do I buy other things? I was not sure. Anyway, at some point, it also became very clear what I wanted to do. And it's knitting related. It's not yarn or anything like that, but it's knitting related. And once again, there is a whole story about that. I discovered quite some time ago a French photographer. His name is Thibaut de Rien. And he has several series on Instagram. And every time the picture of from him pops up on my feed, I'm very happy. He has very different tastes from me, from what I like to be making with my own pictures. And so he's a professional. I'm not. Let's be very clear about that. But he has a very poetic eye, and he has several series. One of them is J'habite une ville fantôme. I live in a ghost town. And his series is about old and closed shops from villages in France, of course, abandoned shops, and he makes pictures with very, very soft colors. The way he prints the pictures is also something that makes the colors even a bit softer. He prints them on heavy canvas paper, heavy paper, and that also is a very grainy paper. And so it's very unique. He has that one series. He has another series which is Dire au revoir à la ville, say goodbye to the city, where he goes in the countryside and take pictures, but not quite of abandoned places, but of places where nobody is at the time he takes the picture. And last summer, I guess last year, he had a residency in Corsica with the Ajaccio city to take pictures of the city. They hosted him for 2 months and fed him and everything. And he took pictures of the area of Ajaccio. And there will be some kind of an event where his pictures will be displayed about Corsica and about the Ajaccio area. And he's published some of these on his Instagram, and I really like very much his eye. He has a very poetic eye and a very poetic way to print pictures. He also has another series which is on square pictures, and all in not the sepia colors, because sepia colors are a little bit too orange for me, but more on a very cool brown tonality that is just, mesmerizing. Anyway, I was following that guy on the social networks and everything, and at some point, way before Christmas, or a bit before Christmas, he says he has a limited series of postcards that he's going to print from his pictures. So I looked at what was in the series, because I think, you can make little postcards in little frames that can be very nice. So here is J'habite une ville fantôme. I live in a ghost town. And what I saw in the series is that there was a picture of a closed and abandoned yarn store. Tricot is knitting, and the way, tricot can be displayed on stores to say it's a knitting store. And so both words are tricot on the window and at the top of the store. So that was not very expensive, 25 euros. That was enough for me to say, okay, I want to buy that, and I will frame it in the background and everything. So he has other postcards. One is for a cafe. So I'm not sure he says where it is. Here is Autant jadis, so not sure, maybe it was a crafting store, or maybe it was a restaurant, maybe. Alimentation is a food store, an old food store for food. Club La Joie de Vivre, so I guess this was some kind of a club place where people would come to play, I don't know, cards or other board games or something else. A club for whatever. Another cafe. Drogerie is, it's more of a drugstore, but not the drugstore you have in the US. It's where you actually buy drug products, not as medicines, but you know, when you want to clean something or to clean your shoes or to, you know, unclog whatever, something in your house, you go there. So an old store also like that. So a newspaper place. Journaux is newspaper. Épicerie moderne, which is a modern deli. Of course, of course, it's not modern any longer. And maybe another coffee place, and maybe we are back. Yes, we are back to the knitting place, the closed knitting place. Anyway, so when I ordered on his website, there was a box for a message, and I said, okay, so it's you know, I like what you do and everything. I saw that you had posters on your website, but I did not see the one with the knitting place. So would you make a poster from that picture or not? So he answered and he said, okay, I don't have a poster ready for that kind of picture, but I have another one. But the other one is not the regular poster that we are making at a high number. There is very few, 10, I think 10 pictures that are made of another yarn store. So he sent me the picture and I said, oh, okay. I'm going to get that one. And, you know, it also clicked. I said, okay, with the money that my mother gave me, I'm going to buy this one picture, but it's not a poster on paper. It's on this heavy paper, heavy canvas paper that is quite irregular. And he frames it and he said, okay, he gave me his bank account identity so that I can wire money to him to pay, because it's not on his website. It's only if you contact him. And I saw he was 20 minutes away from where we were supposed to, and suppose is the right word, supposed to be with my brother and sister-in-law. After I visited my mother, we had rented a place in Brittany to spend the week there together. And I said, oh, okay, I'm going to be there, so I can come and pick it up if you want. That way we can meet, and you don't have to send it to me. So my sister-in-law's mother went to the hospital the day they arrived, the evening they arrived there, and I was supposed to come a couple days later because I wanted to stay with my mother. So I stayed a bit longer with my mother because to be certain I could come and visit them, that her mother was out of the very stressful part, and we knew what she was having and how she would be treated, and everything was like that. Once everybody knew what she was having, and it would, you know, there was a protocol and it would be fine. So I stayed 2 days more than anticipated at my mother's. This is why I knit so much on Alary. And we said, okay, I'm going to go visit you for a couple days. And then I had said, well, what am I doing? And on the way back, so it was not on the way back, I did much more driving that, going back from where they are to my own place. But anyway, I went to Brittany where we were supposed to be staying for the week, and I picked up the framed picture that he's made, that I bought from him. So it's number 1 out of 10, and it's another knitting place, another abandoned knitting place. You may have seen it in the background. I haven't hanged it already and everything. And you see, I like very much his way of, it's a very poetic and very soft way of taking pictures of these abandoned place. And anyway, I am very happy I have this picture. Hopefully one day, when one of my sons will have taken everything out of their bedroom, either one of them, I will repurpose that place as a filming place, as a knitting place for myself, and I can display this better than what I'm doing now. So you may have seen it, it's in the background here. Below that frame in the back is my oven. So my oven is at my level. I don't have to go down to get to the inside of the oven. I open it and it's at my level. And there is, some place where I put fruits and stuff like that on top of it. It's all insulated and everything, so it doesn't it doesn't turn the fruits bad. But anyway, you may have seen it in that corner when I was first recording. And this is where I'm going to be keeping it for now because I want it to be in front of my eyes. So my desk is just across from here. And I had first thought about placing it there. Anyway, I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing for now. I'm very pleased. So it took me a whole day it should have taken me 3.5 hours to go back from my sister-in-law and my brother and sister-in-law to my house. And it took me 4 hours to go to Brittany, see him. So we met and we talked. He said, I could have, send it to you. I said, yeah, but I wanted to meet you. I wanted to talk with you and everything. I prefer to know the people the same way I like to know the people who make yarn. And I said, I can drive 2 hours for yarn, so why not drive 3 hours or 3.5 hours to see you? It was more than 4, but anyway, the weather was horrible, so it was even more than that. And once I was in Brittany, should have taken me 1 hour and 45 minutes to come back home. Took me over 2.5 hours. It was dark, it was raining, it was pouring rain. So I went to the city to pick up my son, my youngest son, who stayed home with me for another 2 or 3 days. And then he left yesterday to go back to Lyon. So we have been having horrible weather. And anyway, I was very, very, very tired when I went back on Friday late at night, after having spending the whole day in the car. My ribs were kind of hurting again, and I was not comfortable. And thing is, the next day, on the Saturday, I was supposed to go to Atelier Pure Laine at Frédéric's place because there was a party for her retirement, but I declined. I said, no, my ribcage is too painful for now. I don't feel like driving 2 hours, staying there for an hour and a half, and going back home. It's too much. So I missed that. I'm very sorry I missed that. But anyway, I did participate in other ways. And I stayed home on Saturday. I was totally out of juice. I did recharge a bit on Sunday, and today was my first real full day at work. And we're on a Monday, and I think I'm gonna no, I don't have to, but I'm gonna be filming on Monday nights from now on because my teaching schedule has changed and it's not going to be practical for me to go the way I used to go last year. So I may have to be filming on Monday nights and editing and posting the video on Fridays as usual. So yes, anyway, that's all of the Christmas and New Year's. I may have placed, or I will place, maybe pictures from when I was with my brother and sister-in-law, but we did not do much because her mother was in the hospital, so they wanted to go every afternoon, so we did not leave. We had one walk in the forest that is very close by where they live. That is a very big forest, so they know it in and out. So we went to walk for an hour and a half, and that's the only thing that we did because all the other days they were going to the hospital. Anyway, I spent one afternoon there, but after the other days I did not feel it was quite my place to be there, so I just stayed home. And one day I did have a long nap, and the other days I didn't. So anyway, that's gonna be it for today. I hope you enjoyed this little video. I hope that we will meet for a whole other year, that we will talk in the comments down below, because you are giving me back as much as maybe you can take from what I'm offering in these videos. Bear Mountain would not be on my needles right now if it was not thanks to you, for example. And I hope you do enjoy your knitting. I hope that Santa was good to you, that it bring you some yummy goodness, and if it did not, that maybe you did it for yourself, and that we will meet for the whole next year, talk about our projects, our knitting projects, our no-buy projects, because many people commented on the video down below, my last video, that it does inspire you. You take whatever you like the most in that project that I'm undertaking. You take what fits you. If it's nothing, it's nothing. If nothing fits you, and if you want to be living in a yarn store, good for you. And anyway, I do enjoy all of our little conversations that we have in the comment section down below. As always, I will try to link everything in the description box. I hope that you will have a very, very safe and very enjoyable beginning of the year, and that the whole year will bring you joy, happiness, happy projects, happy little stitches. I thank you a lot for being here with me, and I will see you next time. 2, 3, 4, 5, set. So I bought another set, and I bought a set of, what are they? What's the name? Cubic. It's not with DPNs. Either it's made for magic loops